Hello, this is Jay. I want to welcome you for tuning in. I wanted to take some time today and share with you some scripture and just some encouragement to you today. You know, in 2021, we've dealt with a lot of things leading back from 2020. We've had a severe virus wipe out a large population of people, not just in America, but all over the world. And it's impacted the way we do business, the way we live, the way we go to school, the way we do social events, church and etc. And I just wanted to share with you a way to encourage you to let you know that there is still hope, that things will get better over time. This isn't the first catastrophe that has occurred in the world, and we'll get through this together. I wanted to take a few minutes also to encourage you that this is a good time for you to consider venturing out on the business that maybe you've always dreamed of. That understanding that the way the economy has impacted a lot of families, that it's important to have more than one knife in the fire, so to speak, and that we should take some time to sit down and look over some of the things that we always thought were a good idea and do some research into it and consider venturing out in it, maybe partnering up with some people because there are many opportunities. We saw that even when the government shut down the country here in America, that there were some things that were still thriving, and there are some things now that continue to thrive, and some businesses have popped up overnight that many people wouldn't have factored would have even had a chance to make it. So maybe you're that person sitting at home and they're cutting your hours, or you're tired of your job and you're thinking about what's something that I could do to generate more money for myself and generate more money for my family. And more importantly, we can't always depend on the government to be able to take care of us. That's something only God can do. That's something I firmly believe as a Christian. So, with that being said, let's talk about a few things that potentially could help you generate more finance within yourself, for your family, and for further ventures down the road. Me, I've been thinking about wanting to travel at some point, but because of the virus, obviously, that wasn't something I was willing to venture off into. But maybe, when things get better and things get back to normal per se, what were some things that you would like to do? Maybe it is travel. Maybe you've always wanted to go to Jamaica. And there are ways that when you get back on your feet, or if you're already on your feet, that you could simply do to generate more money, to present yourself with a better opportunity to be able to get out and take that next step. Obviously, you're going to need a passport and things of that nature. But financially, what are some ways you can curb some of the money you're spending potentially to put yourself in a better position? And I want you to think of things like this. Practically speaking, how often do you eat out? Um, how much do you typically spend on a meal? Do you often eat out during lunch? What's your general budget for eating out for the week? Do you have a budget set up to cover the amount of money that you spend per week, per month when you're at work? Little things like that don't seem like much, but it's all an expense, right? And that there are ways that we could take some of that money and set it aside to put us in a better position over a projected period, let's say of a year, that if you could save potentially $50 or $40 a week, and you could put that together over a 4 week period, that's $160 to $200. And that $200, if you saved it over the course of a year, could put you potentially in a place to earn about $2,400. Now, I'm not saying you have to give up totally eating out altogether, but if you could learn to make your own meals, or learn ways to pick up time at work to get overtime, to generate the money to offset the balance, you could still enjoy those things and still be building revenue for you to be able to take that dream. Have you even looked at, Expedia or different websites to get a better idea of where you would like to go and the kind of cost it would take for you to get to that place? So there are practical things that we can do to save money, to build up, to put us in a better position. A lot of times, for people like me coming up in the very beginning, it seemed like a milestone I would never be able to reach because it was so hard to become more disciplined, to put myself in a better position to understand how I spend my money. And that's something, first off, you have to learn to address is, am I spending it in an appropriate manner? Am I overspending? Um, am I willing to put in the time to rediscipline myself, to get myself in a position to where I can have these things that I've always wanted, that I may see people going to on social media? Not that that's always true, but seeing people on social media doing these things that I would like to venture off into. So you have to position yourself with the discipline, or put yourself around a team, if you that's not who you are, to put yourself in a better position to be able to do that type of thing. Another thing that you can do to generate more money for yourself is look at how often are you shopping? What are you buying? Do you have to have the high end things? Do you have to always upgrade your phone every time a new one comes out? Those type of expenses all accumulate money that's going out of our pocket that we earn out into the world. And if you can learn to curve some of those things, you can put yourself again in a better position to be able to do what you've always wanted. Another thing is, do I have to go out and get a newer car? Can I afford to maintain this car and still keep up the oil change, the tire, the tune up, and the things of that nature uh, for another year and save money, so that in a year I can have that trip? I keep going back to that. And then over the course of a year, maybe I could reconsider getting a newer car. Or have you considered maybe taking the car that you have? This may be something some people aren't willing to do, but we're just trying to put everything on the table to give you a better understanding. Are you willing to take the car that you have and trade down to something to where you can lower your payments? Have you considered the place that you're living in? Would you consider downsizing? Now, most people wouldn't downsize their home for a trip, but that's just a scenario to consider. Are you willing to take up a second job, to pick up the hours to generate the money for you to have the trip? So there are many different suggestions out here. We just have to have a better frame of mind to look at it from a different standpoint, so that we can put ourselves in that position. Maybe you not wanting a trip is I didn't say that right. Maybe the trip isn't something that you're looking for. Maybe it's to um, I don't know, move to the other side of the country. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there. Whatever the case is, if you reposition yourself, maybe downsizing is an option, is what I'm saying, to put you in a position to have better control of the money coming in and redistribute it so that it goes out to the appropriate places, so that things will begin to change for you. For some people, that's not going to be an easy task, because we're people of we're creatures of nature. We're used to patterns, generally speaking, so it's hard for us to adjust. So for some people, simply taking the time writing it down is one thing. Actually writing it down and committing to the list is another thing, and being able to do it for an extended time is a whole nother ballpark for some people. So again, it's important for you to have the right people around you to motivate you, people that you feel comfortable with, who are going to believe in what's best for you and are going to help you carry that out over the next 90-day period or so. So those are practical ways that you could generate more money with the money that you have coming in. For some people, it's like, yo, Jay, I'm in a position right now where I'm barely making ends meet. Maybe this is something I could consider next year. If that's the case, hey, I totally understand where you're coming from. This isn't quite for you yet. But it doesn't mean that you can't take the time to sit down and write out what is your path, what is your goal, what's your dream vacation, because there are possibilities for that. We can't always expect for things to be a situation where it's going to fall out of the sky. We got ourselves into this situation. We're going to have to be proactive by getting ourselves out of this situation. And if we can learn to be more practical with the way that we spend our time, our money, and the way we carry out everyday life, you can change your course in life by making some simple changes. And you have to look at it from a long-term perspective and not a short-term solution. Maybe you do the trip and then you say, hey, this is work. This is really great. I had a great time. I got a great tan or whatever. Now I like to venture over into the next thing. And if you can carry a similar formula, you will get great results. And I really believe that. I went through that situation a few months ago where, I had my chance to get what I call my dream vehicle. And I did my homework, I prayed about it, and I looked into it. And by having the right opportunity at the right time, in the right situation, with the window being open, and God giving the green light, it was able to work out. And it really showed me that there are ways for me to change the way I think in order to get the things that I've wanted or what I've always desired, if I'm willing to take the necessary steps. So I got on here basically to share that you can do it, you can make it. You have to believe in yourself and that good things can happen. But I also need to inform you with this. There are going to be some people possibly around you who, as you share what your new vision is, they're not going to be in agreement with it. They're going to say this is a stupid idea, or how could you think about that, or that costs too much, or what are you thinking, and stuff like that. And you have to understand that what's best for you isn't always going to be okay with everybody else. Some people live in a crab in a barrel type mentality. And I'm beginning to realize with some people, that's just the way it's been. That's just the way they are. They may not generally mean anything by it, but you have to understand this is the mentality that they're coming from. And because it's their mentality, you can't force your way of living on them because it would generally just cause friction. So you have to keep that in mind too. Keep yourself with like-minded people. I'm not saying keep yourself away from the people that you've been generally dealing with, because it's important to maintain relationships if you can. But as you continue to evolve, everyone's not going to, be approved with it. Everyone's not going to be okay with it. There may be some jealousy, there may be some hate, there may be some envy. And unfortunately, this is just sometimes how things go, and you have to be prepared for that. So that's another thing to keep in mind too. I have been spending more time in my Bible like never before, and the more I do, the more I begin to have a sense of clarity on how the world works and the opportunities that I have, and I just wanted to pass that on to you. So if this is something that was beneficial to you, please leave me a comment, subscribe, maybe share a personal story that you have, that you're going through, or that you've been through, to help encourage somebody else. I want to use this platform as a source to inspire people that you can reach your dreams regardless of your age, color, gender, etc. And that you don't always have to do it the way everybody else has done it to reach the same path to what most people are calling now success. That what's good for the goose isn't always good for the gander. But it's important that we take the time to formulate, that we ask the questions, that we find out are there resources, material out there that will help lead me down the right path or lead you down the right path, because we're really on this path together, to reach your ultimate destination. So I would encourage you to stick with it. If a business is something you've always wanted, look into it. Talk to some people. Go in some places who have a business like the one you want. Some will be receptive, some won't. You'd be surprised the kind of knowledge that small business owners will share with other people, future entrepreneurs who are striving to be in their position. They can give you some heads up on some things to look forward to and some pitfalls to avoid. And the resources are out there. So I want to encourage you to take the time, do your homework, pray about it, talk to God about it. If you get the green light, go. If you don't get the green light, don't be upset. It doesn't mean that it can't be. Maybe it isn't the time yet. And sometimes timing, as they say, is everything. So believe in yourself, stay encouraged, and go ahead and step out. Step out and reach for that thing that you want, as long as you understand everything you're getting into and the price that you'll have to pay if things go great or if things don't go well. And I'm going to say this and I'm going to close. I'm one of these personalities where, I used to struggle with ADHD. So I'm into something for 1 minute. Over the years, this has changed, obviously, but I'm into one thing for 1 minute, and then over the course of a few weeks, okay, I moved on to plan B, or I'm on to C now. So you have to learn to channel that energy in a way that you can set small goals so that you could reach them and watch how things begin to blossom. Over time, things can get better. My problem was when I went to plan A and it didn't work, I would get frustrated and felt like a failure and shut down. And I learned that just because you fail, it isn't always a bad thing, because there's a silver lining. There's some things that you can learn from that can be beneficial to the next idea. And every good idea isn't a great idea, but it's possible that your idea could be an innovative thing, or it could just be a way to make your overall life better for yourself and for your family, to give you confidence, to know that you set a goal and that you've actually achieved it. And for some of us, we haven't set any goals in a while, and to achieve something is a huge milestone. And that's the kind of thing I want to empower to you today, to go out and create, evaluate, and share. Find a way to help others be encouraged. Um, I'll leave you with a scripture. Um, Philippians 4:13 says, I'll paraphrase it, I can do all things through Christ Jesus that strengthens me. As I continue to venture into life, being a parent, I have to lean on the Lord for support. I have to lean on wise people for counsel. And I want to encourage you to do that today. Thank you. Stay tuned. Again, feel free to leave a comment, subscribe, leave a comment, or hit the like button. Share this information with others. The purpose of this is just to enlighten other people. I have some apparel coming out soon called Epiphany Apparel. And I'll leave you that information on the IG and the Instagram that's to come soon. Thank you for tuning in. Have a blessed day.